Year two of Michigan State football under Jonathan Smith. Yeah, it's not going so well. What's the most shocking part of this downfall, though? There's unfortunately a lot to pick from. Yeah, great.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, that's right. Catch the energy, feel that fever for game day at Spartans versus Hoosiers. Yeah, okay, sure. We'll talk about that game really quick. We got one notable news tidbit here right off the top. But after that, guys, we're going to talk with Chase Glasser of Spartans Illustrated, one of the great football minds that we routinely have on this show, because we're going to talk about, from his point of view, what's been the most shocking part of year two under Jonathan Smith. A year that has been anything but a success so far. But this quick little tidbit, Chase, comes from Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports. He tweeted out today, middle of the day, Thursday, that Michigan State starting quarterback Aidan Chiles is expected to be able to play against number 3 Indiana on Saturday. Chase, I got a quick take here, and this is loser talk, and it makes sense because I am a loser. But the take does not live in reality. I know this is not how the world works inside of college football locker rooms and programs, but my take here is... would it be the worst thing to see Aidan Chiles on the sideline this upcoming Saturday? And this isn't I think Alessio's better, or I think there should be a quarterback controversy. No, this comes from, I'm tired of seeing Aidan Chiles being treated like a crash test dummy the last 2 weeks. If there's anything left in this season that you could possibly glean, it would be a win against Michigan. That might come off as a little brother comment. That might just come off as pure honesty. Because I'll tell you what, the train ain't getting back on the tracks this weekend, whether Aidan Chiles plays or doesn't play. Again, does anyone else in the locker room feel that way? No, of course not. This is why I'm behind the microphone, and they're actually getting paid to coach collegiate football at a competitive level. But that's great that he could play. Is that in the best interest of anyone involved, though? That's where I'm coming from. Chase, great to see you. Comment on that, or we can just move on to the next topic. But yeah, okay, sure.
Well, I mean, I'm obviously, happy to be here. Always happy to be here with you. If this was a game that I think if either one of us felt was going to be competitive, then okay, this could be really something to talk about.
Right.
But I mean, if we've learned one thing about Coach Sig, it's that, I mean, if you're a team with problems, he's going to drop a bomb on you. And I'm not optimistic about Saturday. I think it's probably going to be pretty bad. But you want to talk about a team with problems. Michigan's more talented than Michigan State. But
yeah, right.
That's true a lot of the time. And I just I would not concede that game. And I think Chiles is a guy with a lot of upside that certainly could make a difference in that game. So if he didn't play and was a little bit healthier going in there, then that would be good. There's your groundbreaking analysis, Matt. Having your back is
this
good.
Is why the people love you, Chase. That's it right there. No, I mean, Michigan. Do I expect Michigan State to win that game? No, but are they gettable? With the lowercase g and type 6 font. Again, I'm not coming on here saying, hey, if Chiles plays against Michigan, we're going to win that game and take what is. No. I at least give you at least a % chance in that game. Whereas what's going to happen on Saturday, Chase, the only positivity I can walk into Saturday with is that it's on Peacock. No one is going to know about this game outside of Spartans and Hoosiers fans. And that the positivity, heart stop right there. So look, the reason people love hearing from you, and this is why I enjoy having you on, is you are a great football mind, X's and O's. You get us ready for game previews. And I'm sorry if this is going to take away from the appetite that some of you have. We're not really going to discuss Indiana's, just offensive schemes with Fernando Mendoza. Look, there's bigger fish to fry right here. Mm-hmm. This was supposed to be a big year of promise. At least even marginal improvement from year two on either side of the ball. People have heard me talk all week about why I think this team has been failed by themselves. Look, I don't think the players are all that good. That was my thesis 2 days ago. The coaching staff, I certainly have had things to say about them. offense, defense, special teams, step in the world of recruiting. I think all 4 of those phases are just being tanked right now. So, Chase, I'm excited to hear from your perspective. You're more the X's and O's guy. What shocked you the most so far about what we've seen 6 games into the season here?
Yeah, it's interesting, Matt, because I felt that Michigan State could come out of this season, a little bit better than last season, 6-6, 7-5. You can have the tangible progress of making a bowl game, right, and point to that. I certainly thought that Michigan State would have that, especially, looking at this schedule, you get Michigan at home, you miss Ohio State, you miss Oregon. But, I thought that if they could get to a bowl, but just that it would feel better, that it would look better, that, when you sat down and watched this product, you would feel, okay, I think we can be pretty clear-eyed, Matt, about what this team is and what it is not. Mm-hmm. It's got some pieces, but it's not that talented.
Clearly.
Yeah. But I thought that it would be organized. And when talking about the most shocking thing, that's really what it came down to for me, was just the overall organization of the team. Because I think we knew that Jonathan Smith was not going to be somebody who comes in and has an immediate infusion of talent. But, this was a guy who was coming over with someone who we both thought was a highly touted quarterback with a lot of promise. But, part of the reason why I thought Smith was such a good hire was because the track record of being at, I'm sure Corvallis is lovely, but you don't think Oregon State as a football power. You're competing with another kind of preeminent brand in the state. But, his ability to build a program and identify talent and coach up talent, but just put together a product that does not beat itself, that does the little things right and really is built on a strong foundation. And that's been the most surprising thing to me, is just how disorganized it all looks, where, when you hear people say, well, we're playing 10-man football, right? It's just a different one person is making the mistake on every play. Well, that's a problem, because if it's the same guy every play, you can replace him or scheme around that or something. But I think that's probably true in that, getting away from, well, is the scheme that good, or is it constrained by the players they have? We don't know. The attention to detail, the little things, lining up wrong, angles, tackling, procedure penalties, having a 2-man shield and letting somebody waltz by you on the inside to get a punt block that turned out to be a big part of the winning margin against Nebraska.
God, that was awesome. It wasn't. Jesus Christ.
not to pull up a bad memory, but
it's great, it's fine.
But just the little things like that, it's been very surprising to me, because I felt that while you would not see an immediate, they're not going to be competing for a Big Ten title immediately, I thought that you would see an immediate infusion of, hey, this is a team that looks like they know what they're doing. They have, some sort of a cohesive identity, and they're doing the little things right? The things that are kind of opponent invariant, where we talk about lining up correctly, procedure penalties, looking polished, taking care of the football, things like that, where it doesn't, that's independent of talent or of your opponent, where it's the things that you look for in a well-coached team. And that's been largely absent, and that's been very surprising to me.
When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Well, SupplyHouse, they got you covered with next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit SupplyHouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. Again, guys, that's SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com. Real people, real service. Also, gang, hey, you know what? If you want to feel something this Saturday watching the Michigan State game, mosey on over to FanDuel Sportsbook, because right now, At the time of recording, Michigan State 27.5-point underdogs. If you are bleeding green and white still, even all that we've seen the last few weeks, go ahead. Hey, put some action on it over at FanDuel. They got some good touchdown props, receiving props, passing props, anything that you can need to spice up your Saturday. Also Sundays, Mondays. Heck, there's football on every day of the week now these days. And if you're a new customer, these game days get even sweeter for you because new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. What on earth are you waiting for out there, guys? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, guys, that's FanDuel.com.
And also, I mean, just in thinking about maybe, I really thought that Chiles was progressing earlier in the season.
How could you not? Yeah, he looked dynamite the first 4 games.
He's clearly regressed quite a bit in the last couple of games, but I just, you talk about Jonathan Smith, this was a guy who had DJU, right? And they looked like a pretty solid team with him in, I believe, 2023, right? So it's been very surprising to me, the just total lack of cohesion. And that's before you get into the lack of talent. And, Matt, I don't know if it's an NIL issue. I know he hasn't really had a chance to recruit. People differ over whether or not he's worked the portal well or not. He's got some people like Krishan McCray and Omari Kelly and
Matt Golden's been fun.
Matt Golden, the center. He's been,
sure.
There's things like that. But I mean, I'm not going to tell you that the team is talented top to bottom or that there haven't been misses there. Because I mean, I also think, yes, everybody knew that they had a problem with pass rush. It may have just been prohibitively expensive to get a top end pass rusher in the portal. That may be the case. I don't know. That's not that I have no line of sight into that at all.
One thing that we could all agree on is that and I did this episode a few days ago. Mm-hmm. This cupboard was pretty bare when he got here. Yes, we have just been very mean to Jonathan Smith this week. I've sold all my shares, mm-hmm. but he was done no favors in having to replenish the wide receiver room. He had to go out and get linebackers immediately because Mel Tucker only recruited 2 linebackers in his time here at Michigan State. Yeah. Defensive line recruiting? What? Oh, we were supposed to do that? He did come with a bare cupboard, so that for this portal cycle, they had to spend, I don't know how much money, but they had to spend it widely. They had to cast a wide net. So you see the dividends there, but again, that's not the only issue here. There are some things that you can point the fingers at them, but the transfer portal, that has been a conversation that has spiked up recently. I think there's a lot of nuance to it, but anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just had to.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, and I don't say that to absolve a coaching staff you are what you are, and it looks like they've done a pretty poor job, right? I really thought that this was going to work. Now, I thought he needed probably 3 or 4 years, but I would be lying to you if I told you that I thought they would look like this in year 2, right? Especially with a returning quarterback. You don't have to have a ton of talent to look well coached. And they don't look well coached. And you see teams you see this sometimes when I'm trying to think of a good example, but when a Big Ten team plays, here's a good one, is when Oregon played Idaho last year. And Idaho went in there and played Oregon really tough. Yeah. And, Oregon wound up winning largely on talent. And they wound up pulling away at the end. But you came away from that game going, dang, that Idaho, they played soundly. They had great attention to detail. They tackled well. They executed their plays to the absolute, extent that they could within the bounds of their athleticism. That's a well-coached team. Well, it turns out Jason Eck is a pretty good ball coach, right? But you can see well-coached teams even when they're at a talent disadvantage. And that is what I thought that I would see. And I find it really difficult to square the circle of you go into last year and they have that win in week 2 over Maryland where, Marsh goes nuclear and you've got this kind of young core and they're making plays. And then, you catch one at Ohio's. You get Ohio State at home and you play them tough in the first half, and it's just okay, they're more talented. Same thing. You have some spark early, and you lose against Oregon, but I mean, who can really blame you for losing to those two? And then they play that game at home against Iowa. And they just that was where, I was thinking two things. One, it's happening. Like they've arrived here. Everything is looking clean. The offense is getting called in ways that are addressing the other team's, weaker points, and the defense is executing. Tackling. And the second thought was kind of, oh my God, they play Michigan next week. And Michigan's in trouble.
They were for a half. Yeah.
And then the game starts and all of my priors are totally confirmed. Like this is a physical team that's, doing the little things right. And it kind of all came crashing down. Now, not that it's all because of that game, but it's like you could see it there for a bit, right? Like you could see some sparks early in like the first half of 2024. Because correct me if I'm wrong, like I don't remember there being a ton of consternation kind of early through midway of last year, right? Like, I mean, the Boston College loss, I feel like people were more upset with Chiles, but also people kind of understood that
it is what it is.
With Chiles, you signed up for a game or two like this.
Yes.
And then it just seemed like everything was going in the right direction. And then the fact that we're here now, I really did not expect to be here. I don't know what happens next. Like you look at, I don't know what happens. I mean, it could be, hey, you put up a fight against Indiana and you lose, 35-17. And then, if they go and they beat Michigan at home, and then if you get like a Maryland and Minnesota and you get to a bowl game, all of a sudden, like, okay, now maybe we're talking something in year 3. Or it could be the wheels totally come off. And then if I do not pretend to have any idea what happens, but if they move on at the end of the year, like I wouldn't say that they shouldn't if the wheels totally come off, but I don't know what the day after situation looks like. Like, I don't know what a proven head coach candidate looks like. I don't know, if you want to go for a coordinator, there's a lot of good coordinators out there. I just don't know what any of that looks like. And more than that, I just really did not think that we would be here. I genuinely did not.
It's a hell of a year to be in it too, because like the Penn State job's open, Florida could very well be open soon. Arkansas is going to be open. Yeah. Will Kentucky be open? Wisconsin, Nebraska. If Matt Rule goes to Penn State, it's like
LSU.
We picked a great. Certainly. Yeah, you picked a great time to be in the midst of a coaching search. Or let's say you stunned the world, you beat Michigan, and now Michigan's open. That's right. Like, my God, both our schools being open. Like, how fun would that be? That'd be a measuring contest like you've never seen before here. Oh my God.
I think I'd move. Yeah.
That would bring the rivalry fodder back on Twitter. That's what we need. Both jobs to be open. Ooh, I think we solved it. Because it's been a little too cushy in the rivalry. Like, and
we'll talk about this more next week, but like, is this the least juiced up rivalry since like we were talking like, because somebody said 2012, and I don't really remember that, honestly. Like, I remember the game, but I was not around for really the
that's a good one.
I said 2019, because like in 2019, like Michigan was, I think, 7-2 and ranked, but it was very much they lost to the two best teams on their schedule. They gotten vaporized by Wisconsin. It was clear that it was like marching.
Antonio was still on those sidelines, but
it was
Antonio being on the sidelines gave us a glimmer of hope, and also Michigan fans absolutely despise that guy. Whereas Jonathan Smith's like, who could even be upset at that guy? State fans actually, us. that's. But
it's just it's just the whole thing, and I think Matt, that's something where the opposite of anger, or the opposite of love is not hate, it's apathy, right? And like that's where you really don't want to be, is like where it's just kind of like, oh man, I don't even care. Like, that's where it's just I really genuinely did not think we'd be here. And I just, something about Smith, I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to the whole, he's a bad fit. Because like I've actually heard like Rich Rodriguez combined a little bit. Good coach, bad fit for Michigan. And it's like, well, was he a bad fit? Maybe, but also like he didn't have good players, right? And he tried to run a 3-3-5 without a defensive line. Like I just, I think, yes, does fit matter? Like, yeah, I'm not going to act like it doesn't. But I mean, also, if you don't have hey man, we went 3/4 of a season without getting a sack last year. Like I don't know if that's because that doesn't happen because your coach is from the West Coast. It's like the players weren't very good. It's like, I don't know, but I understand. I mean, I do think, Michigan State, you want a certain ethos, right? And obviously Mark D'Antonio personified that for a lot of people, and Tom Izzo the same way, where you have, I like that kind of attitude. But I didn't think that it was a prerequisite. But I mean, this is not working. And I've been pretty clear. Like I like Jonathan Smith. I thought he was a good hire, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's working. I'm not going to sit here and tell you like the schematically they're ahead of the curve or anything like that. I think they do some good things. Like, but that was kind of like this week. It's like
punt.
Right. But it's like, this week, it's like, I don't know. Does anybody really want to hear about like, oh, hey, there's a new wrinkle in the way they're blocking inside zone? Like, I don't think so. Cause who cares? Right?
No, I don't. So respectfully, I don't.
Yeah, right. Nobody does. So it's just like,
Mazda crafts cars for those who do simply more than just move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings the same attention to how they craft every single model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but ordinary, from smooth handling to intuitive controls, and with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. It's Mazda. Move and be moved. Also, guys, hey, you want to look your best the rest of this football season, going into basketball season? Well, that starts with Alumni Hall. Because Alumni Hall has the largest selection of officially licensed gear. We're talking all the top brands: Nike, Columbia, Champion, Yeti, New Era, many more, guys. They have apparel for the entire family from kids to adults, plus a huge selection of hats, gifts, and all the tailgating gear you can need to make your setup the best in the lots this season. And they really take care of the Spartan community. Michigan State students, faculty, as well as military and all first responders, you get 10% off with a valid ID in the store. And on top of all that, you're going to want to follow Alumni Hall on social media and download the Alumni Hall app, because that is where you will find special offers and sales. So pop into Alumni Hall in the Eastwood Town Center in Lansing near the Apple Store, or shop online or through their app. And best part is, for every $150 you spend, you will get $10 in Hall cash to use for next time. So what are you waiting for out there, guys? Get that new game day look or upgrade your tailgate with Alumni Hall, your ultimate Michigan State shopping destination.
I'm a broken record here. The fact that we're this existential a year and a half into a tenure, I don't know. It's just, it's not good. And I think, this is not just the frustration of the last year and a half, right? There's the way that, after 2021, it's looking like, hey, we could really be building something here. How do we build off of the Kenneth Walker year?
Yeah.
But then, that's kind of a blip. And then you go before that, the end of the D'Antonio era. And like, that goes back really to like, it's somebody, I don't a friend of mine was like, said he saw a tweet like this all started when Connor Cook threw that pick at the end of the first half in the whatever the playoff game was, 2015.
That's the pebble that caused all these wrinkles, huh?
And I was just kind of like, wow, that is a pull from 10 years ago or whatever. But it's like I do think for most of the last 10 years, it's been kind of rough. And I don't blame people for being acutely frustrated right now. And I just don't think it's getting better this weekend. So maybe we can pack it in for the least juiced up rivalry week ever.
The only other year that I could possibly think was a few years ago. Michigan's Michigan's title run. That's right.
I was thinking about that, but even that week,
you guys had something to be happy for.
But that, like the whole Stallions thing came out that week.
Yeah. That's a good point.
There was still that kind of like
there's still nonsense. Yeah.
Right. So I was thinking maybe 2022 when it was kind of like, okay, like, yeah, Michigan's definitely better, State's kind of middling, like it's just going to be a very kind of whatever game, which it was. Like nobody remembers anything from that game.
Keon Coleman had a touchdown. That was fun.
Yeah, right.
He made me believe for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's like, and then Michigan kicked like 9 field goals, and it was.
That's right.
I don't even know what the final score was. It was like, I don't know, but it's just like, it just, I don't know. This isn't fun either. Like there's been some weeks where it's like, this is awesome. And I don't know. And I actually think that it could be a pretty darn competitive game, but not for the right reasons.
It's going to be a mid-off, right?
Yeah. I mean, like a 2012 style,
2012 has to be it, because at least it was both fan bases kind of enjoying a mediocre season. At least 2 years ago, like at least you guys were smiling and skipping into that game like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. Whereas like I couldn't care less about that game from the rivalry standpoint because we all knew what was gonna happen. Right. Like that was inevitable. But man, for both fan bases to just be sitting in like the same rowboat without a paddle, just staring at each other across the lake, wondering like, how's this gonna end? Is anyone gonna have fun during this? Like, no.
I think you called it the buyout bowl, and
the buyout bowl is gonna be lit, fam. Kids say.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it bad that we're talking about a game that's happening in a week and a half before?
That's and to bring it full circle and like talk about the Indiana game that's happening in 24 hours. Like, that's what like really just bums me out the most. Is we could really use like a gettable game, I guess, like Minnesota.
Yeah.
Or Iowa, like a team that we will certainly be underdogs by 10 points against, but there is a real world that you could look into where you see a win. And hey, everything that they said on Sunday and Monday about, no, we are coming back focused. Yeah. It was a productive week. No, like there is no reality where I even see a single point loss on Saturday against Indiana, let alone a win. So
yeah, I just they're really good. Like I will say that is
they are insane.
Like I was I thought that they were a good team last year, but I very much did think, let's see what happens once all these James Madison guys leave, yada yada. Like they're straight up
got better. They just got better.
Good. They're good from the inside out too. Like they're good in the trenches. And like I watched that game against Oregon and was just like, I'm really impressed. Like it's a really good team.
Dante Moore saw ghosts for the first time all season, and that was because of that front right there.
Absolutely. I mean, I was on the road too. Like I was
unbelievable.
Really impressed.
Yeah. So like, where's Michigan State's weaknesses? The trenches. Where does Indiana kill people on the road? In Autzen Stadium, it's the trenches. Oh, great. Let's just pair those two teams together on Peacock at 3:30.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll be seeing and hearing from Chase next week for the buyout bowl. It's going to be just must-see television here. I'm sorry if like all my doom and gloom has like really just brought everyone down, but I really think that there's been some company in this misery. Just like I was telling Chase before, like this has been like some of our best weeks viewership and listenership wise because unfortunately, we've all come together and broke through the apathy wall, and now we're just pissed off. And now everyone just wants to yell.
Right.
So, so, Chase, you're the best. Go check out more of his work at Spartans Illustrated along with the rest of the gang over there. And, guys, we will be back. That's right. We did it. We did the impossible. We went above 500 in 5 best bets last week. We're turning the ship around here, Chase, so we'll be back with that in a hot second. Yep, you're the best, Chase. All right, 5 best bets coming up here in a hot second, but I did want to answer a mailbag question, which, by the way, beyond record-setting week for mailbag questions. LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com. Sorry, I have not gotten to the majority of them, but hopefully we answered some questions throughout the week that were similar to yours because a lot of you guys have the same opinions on how things are going this season. But I wanted to answer this question just to kind of let everyone know, like, I still like Michigan State a lot. As grumpy of a grouch pants as I've been all week talking about this program, like I still want to see this team succeed. So Nicholas writes in a question here. This is going to sound crazy, but is it a bad thing if we beat Indiana? Of course, I hate losing, but I fear a win against Indiana might be enough to keep Smith around for a little longer. Do you think a win against Indiana would be enough to keep him the rest of the season? If they lose, do you think Smith coaches us against Michigan? Guys, I'll go this far. If Jonathan Smith and this team beats Indiana, forget I even did the last 5 episodes of this show. Forget that I said multiple times I've sold all my shares of Jonathan Smith stock. If you turn this ship around this quickly to beat a bona fide top 3 team in the nation on the road, okay, you know what? UCLA was definitely just a mishap, a blip on the radar. He would get all the goodwill back that he's gotten just with one win at Indiana. That's how highly I think of Indiana. That's how much of a job that I think Jonathan Smith has to do to get this team right in a lot of facets of the game, whether it's in-game, whether it's just the confidence with his own team in the locker room. Yeah, if you beat Indiana, everything's fine. Everything's good. Now, if they lose, I do want to answer the second question here really quick. If they lose, do you think Smith coaches us against Michigan? Here's how I think it'll happen. I'm just shooting from the hip. This is no inside info that I'm trying to be cute with. I think that they let him coach against Michigan. And I would think that they let him coach against Minnesota. If you lose those games, you fire him right before the bye week after the Minnesota game, and that's how the split would happen. I also don't want to see him fired after Indiana because, I don't know, keep your head coach around for Michigan. I don't want to see him fired after Michigan because I don't want those fans having the satisfaction of being the team that finally ousted him. No, do it after Minnesota. I don't think you're going to lose much doing it 1 week later than Michigan or 2 weeks later than Indiana. But anyway, let's get to 5 best bets. We'll rifle through this really quick. We did go 3-2 last week. Now we have a season-long record, still below 500 of 16-19. But hey, let's keep on eating this elephant one bite at a time. 1 3-2 week, 1 4-1 week at a time, guys. This week's picks. Speaking of Minnesota, we are going to go with the Gophers on Friday night, plus 6.5 underdogs at home against Nebraska. A Nebraska team that, call me salty for what happened a few weeks ago, I still just don't think that that's really a good team. And I've been impressed with Minnesota so far this season. So give me almost a touchdown at home in Minneapolis. And also, yeah, we're going to stay in the Big Ten. And I'm going to keep my hater shades on for this one because Washington plus 5.5 at Michigan is where we will go next. We just saw how teams with 9 a.m. body clocks can have no problem coming to Michigan and winning games. So with Washington's dynamic offense and a pretty solid defense too, I think they're a live dog at Michigan. Now with more live dogs on the road out of the Big Ten, I love USC plus 9.5 over Notre Dame. The weather forecast, possible rain does worry me a little bit, especially with USC's running back depth chart looking like, oh my God, just quite a bloody scene. I do like the athletes USC possesses on the outside and at quarterback. Plus 9.5 is a lot of points, so we're going to go with that. The last 2 games, we're going to be going with game totals here. The first one, over 48.5 in LSU against Vanderbilt. And then last but not least, yeah, I'm suspending myself from picking any side of the spread in Michigan State games for the foreseeable future. So while I like Indiana minus 27.5, heck, I would like them at minus 47.5. I'm not going to pick a side here. I am going to pick the game total. I'm going to go over 54.5 for Michigan State versus Indiana, partly because there's a world where Indiana just does that by themselves. So who are we kidding? Hoosiers can absolutely do that single-handedly. So anything that Michigan State does to add to that, hey, that's all gravy. So that's where we're at, guys. Minnesota plus 6.5 over Nebraska. Washington plus 5.5 at Michigan. USC plus 9.5 over Notre Dame. Over 48.5 in LSU against Vanderbilt. Then over 54.5 against Indiana versus our Spartans. Guys, we will be back. I'm going to get back to you guys on Sunday, most likely, okay? It's going to be a little bit of a travel day for yours truly. I will be watching the game, of course, here, but I won't be in front of a microphone most likely until Sunday, maybe late Saturday night, but hey, to be determined. One thing's for sure, win or lose, you will be seeing and hearing from me by the end of the weekend, so take care of yourselves this weekend, guys. Mix in a water. Love you all. Go green.